Our top story. Last year, the Gujarat government released all 11 convicts in the Bilkis Bano case. We thought it was the height of injustice. The worst thing, the absolute worst thing the Gujarat government could do. But turns out we were wrong. Because the government of Gujarat invited and seated one of the 11 convicts on stage at an official event. The pictures you're seeing on your screens right now are testimony to that. The person we have highlighted is a man called Shailesh Bhatt. He was freed last year under the Gujarat government's remission policy. And on Saturday, he was lounging comfortably in the front row at a government function. Wait, the story doesn't end here. Seated alongside him on the front row were two brothers. Jaswant Singh Bhabhor, who's a BJP MP, and Shailesh Bhabhor, who's a BJP MLA. Two lawmakers of the ruling party sharing the stage with a convicted rapist. Also take a look at the banner behind the stage. It has pictures of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel. Seated right in front of that banner was the rapist of Bilkis Bano. We dug a little deeper into what this event was. Turns out it was a groundbreaking ceremony for the Gujarat Water Supply and Sewage Board. It was a 100 crore rupee project. And who does the government invite on stage? A convicted rapist. The BJP MLA is now saying he was too busy to notice who was on stage. The Water and Sewage Board is saying it's not their job to invite people for such events. And the local administration is saying they too were unaware. So how did this convicted rapist get on stage? A man who raped a 21-year-old, 5-month pregnant woman, along with 10 others. This was a gang rape. I think all of us know the answer, but the Gujarat government simply doesn't want to say it. Neither does anyone from the BJP want to comment on it. We invited them on the show. The BJP refused to speak on the issue. The opposition, meanwhile, has gone on the offensive. Listen in to all the reactions that have come in from Parliament today.
Convict in the Bilkis Bano case was seen sharing stage with a BJP MLA and a BJP MP in a government program. How do you see this?
This is something which is not surprising at all. This is a government which went out of its way to release the convicts, and it is only because of the handprints or the fingerprints of the government that they were released, and that matters now in the Supreme Court. And now it's even becoming more apparent that the BJP is completely hand in glove with those who perpetuated that heinous crime.
कोर्ट ने बहुत फैसले दिए थे। क्या बीजेपी ने सम्मान किया, पूछना चाहती हूँ। बिल्किस बानो के मामले में अदालत ने तो सजा दे दी थी। बीच गुजरात चुनाव में उन्हें बेल पे बाहर लाकर वोट उनसे लेकर किसने कोर्ट का मानना किया? और आज भी हमारे मुख्य न्यायाधीश, हमारी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने वापस उस मामले को खोलकर बिल्किस बानो को न्याय देने की बात कही है।
Totally shameful. I'm at a loss of words what to say. I thought it couldn't get worse when I heard BJP say that these are sanskari people. First of all, to call a rapist sanskari. On the other hand, after they're out to put them on stage with MPs and MLAs and allow such a person to sit next to you, I think shows the doublespeak of BJP, where they talk about women empowerment, they talk about Beti Ka Samman. But if this is the way to do Beti Ka Samman, then it's clear that it is nothing more than just mere words and sloganeering.
You see this entire incident that has taken place in Gujarat.
You see, first of all, I would like to say that I'm not at all surprised. I'm shocked, but I'm not surprised. Because there is a pattern. And the Honorable MP saying that he didn't know this man was on the stage, that's not to be believed, because you know now with so much security, you're only allowed a proper chair on the dais where this man was sitting just with them. You know, only when your name is on a list, when you have been invited, when you have been, you know, it is very, very sure and certified that you are supposed to be on the dais. Otherwise, you just can't get on to a dais of a public function anymore. So this is not true. But as I said, it is shocking but not surprising because it is part of a pattern.
Now, these pictures from Gujarat surfaced on an important day in the Bilkis Bano case. The Supreme Court has started hearing a petition against the early release of the 11 convicts. The court called the 2002 incident a horrendous crime. It also issued notices to the Gujarat government and the 11 convicts. The next hearing in this case has been scheduled for April 18th. The Supreme Court says it will decide whether Gujarat or Maharashtra is the appropriate authority to decide on the remission. Now, we of course don't know what the top court will decide. But looking at these pictures from Saturday, I'm fairly certain the court of public opinion has made up its mind. Before I go to my guest this evening, I do want to introduce Rishi Malhotra to you. He's the lawyer of the convicts. He's a senior Supreme Court lawyer as well. He's joining us on the broadcast. Rishi Malhotra, thank you very much for joining us. The Supreme Court today has issued notices to the Gujarat government and to the central government and called the crime that happened in 2002 horrendous. I want to ask you what possibly, Mr. Malhotra, can be the appeal that bats for the remission? Because, you know, it has, when it happened till now, people are in shock. Most people are in shock that people who are accused, men who are accused of such a heinous crime could be let free.
First of all, let me tell you, apart from this political activist, nobody is shocked. And I tell you with some responsibility because these persons have already undergone more than 15 years of actual sentence. So you're saying that they were convicted rapists, convicted murderers. And after all, they have served out their sentence. So they have every right to live a reformative and rehabilitated life. So what's wrong in that? And secondly, don't forget, Shreya, Supreme Court today also said very important statement that since we mentioned this thing that they will be not binding by the emotional pleas raised by Bilkis Bano or these social activists. They will strictly go by the law. The law has been declared by Supreme Court way back in 2022, which says that it will be the Gujarat government remission policy of 1992 which would be applicable. So today, they cannot, in a writ petition under Article 32, seek a setting aside of a Supreme Court order. This is not permissible. This is not even allowed by the Supreme Court.
Mr. Malhotra, then let me expand my question, my line of questioning to you with regards what has happened on Saturday. You are telling me that they have already, these 11 men have already served their sentence, 15 years. That is not the end of their sentence, mind you. Their sentence has been cut short when the remission was granted. But you're telling me that they have already, you know, spent 15 years in prison. Now is the time to let them out and, you know, reform and lead a regular life. Okay, that is the line of your argument. I want to ask you what you make of the fact, how you comment as a citizen of this country, not just as their lawyer, but as a citizen of this country, when these men come out, they are garlanded. One of them becomes one of the star campaigners for the BJP in one particular seat in the recently concluded elections. Then you have a third who's seen on stage with BJP MPs and MLAs. So is that how we reward people who are involved in gang rape, sir? Let them out in 15 years, garland them, reward them, recognize them, put them on stage, give them political patronage?
So what do you expect the family members or their social contacts to do after they get released after, say, about 15 and a half years long period? Are they supposed to cry? Or are they supposed to be very mum that since they are out, nobody should be known? So if a person rejoices after being released after so long years, so what's wrong in that? I really fail to understand that if a person is released after so many years out of jail, he can't be garlanded, he can't attend any function. Are we living in a unreformative society that they have to be secluded for all times to come?
So they were welcomed like heroes and they were called Sanskari Brahmans by a set of the BJP. Is this our Sanskar, sir? To garland and celebrate rapists?
You see, frankly speaking, I don't second any political statements because I, being a lawyer, I am more confined to the legal niceties of this case. Legal niceties, as I told you, is a case where, first of all, 5 petitioners in the first batch of 5 petitions, they were no one into this case. They're all strangers. They come to Supreme Court and they challenge the remission order. They don't even annex the remission order, but they have this what you call a speculative writ petition saying that perhaps that remission order must be bad, so therefore please set aside. Now, have you heard of so many years of your own experience that any petition is filed in Supreme Court challenging an X order without annexing that X order? So this was very strange even for me to understand that without actually seeing the remission order, they come up, they go to Supreme Court being a third party and challenges that order. This is very unheard of. So therefore, we have taken two preliminary objections before the Supreme Court. One is the locus standi of all these writ petitioners. And number two, which is very much important, which was argued by me today in the Supreme Court, that they cannot challenge right or wrong is Supreme Court verdict of May 2022 because the even review is also dismissed of the victim. So today the Supreme Court cannot set aside an order of its own in a writ petition. The only remedy, if any, if available to them, is to file a curative petition.
Okay. Mr. Malhotra, I think you've made your legal point very well. We leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much. A quick chat with